Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Old Saybrook Selectman Scott Giegerich. Scott, welcome. How are you, my friend?
Very well, thank you. Excited for the new year, and the new year brings in great new news, and that is that the Raise for Rams, which I think we're going to be speaking about this evening,
absolutely,
has hit the $100,000 mark with a goal to raise $150,000 in order to finally install ball field lighting at our Old Saybrook high school turf athletic field, where students play football, soccer, field hockey, lacrosse, and probably a few other sports that I'm not thinking about right now. But
absolutely. Scott, well, we actually have to let our audience know you're actually a first-time guest with me. Usually, when I'm hanging out talking about the town of Old Saybrook, we have the first selectman on with us, but obviously, you are on the Board of Selectmen with Carl, and I believe from doing my homework, are you the second selectman?
Well, so the
something like that?
In Old Saybrook, you have a first selectman, and then you have two select people. In addition, and so there is no gradation. Some people mention that they'll use that term, and I have never said no to it. No, however, we're all partners on that team, and I think we worked effectively over time, and I'm very proud of my affiliation with Carl Fortuna and with Matt Pugliese, who's our other selectman at this point in time, and we've had a positive relationship with every one of our counterparts over the 10 years that Carl and I have been involved, and now we're beginning our 11th year and moving forward.
That's right. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about the program we're going to talk about tonight and how it got started back in the day.
So many people in our town are aware that way back in 1981, a former first selectman, Larry Rainey, I believe at that time he was a school teacher at the high school.
Okay.
And I'm sorry if I get those facts imperfect. However, I do know that Larry's son had a tragic demise, and the town banded together and they raised money on behalf of Larry's son, and they installed ball field lighting at the high school, and off they went. And unfortunately, they didn't go through all of the channels at that point in time, and the ball field lighting was actually not permitted based on the regulations in town at that time. So the town was instructed to remove the lights. The lights were removed, and they were either sent to Valley Regional High School or to Madison. Those are the two stories that I've heard, and I haven't confirmed exactly where the first set of lights went to. So that was way back 40 years ago, 1981. I guess after that, there were two other attempts where the town had gone out and they rented lighting, and then what they did is they rented parking lot lights, and they had the generators, and they were noisy, and they lit up pretty much the Eastern Hemisphere. And so once again, there were a number of people who were aggrieved by that particular action, and then I think rightfully so. And so once again, it was deemed that that's not appropriate at this point in time. So you fast forward to 2021, 2022, and you know that technology has changed tremendously. Ball field lighting is in almost every community in the state of Connecticut. And we happen to be one of the communities that does not have that opportunity. And so over the last 2 years, beginning in 2020, in a meeting in February, Carl Fortuna proposed an amendment to an ordinance that is on the books at that point in time that said ball field lighting was specifically prohibited. And so he went to our zoning commission along with good number of community citizens.
Okay.
And there were 84 letters in support. There were great number of people indicating that, you know, our time has come. The ball field lighting is no longer the challenge that it used to be, which was that it was disruptive. And And people had very, very valid concerns in the past. And nowadays, those concerns are much less valid because of the fact that lights in present day don't have the spillage that they had in the past. We've held public hearings over that period of time. The zoning board heard all of the pros. They heard the abutting neighbors and their concerns. Those concerns are valid. Those concerns said, hey, that light is going to spill into my windows, and I'm going to be disrupted. I'm going to have a sleepless evening, and that's not fair to me. And those abutting neighbors were right and fair to make that claim. And they were invited to a public hearing, a meeting where a representative from a reputable lighting manufacturer showed up. Musco was a very prominent lighting manufacturer. They put on a presentation at town hall. Yeah. They turned all the lights off in the main room, and they illuminated just the desk area, no spillage, and people were amazed, and they had a feeling of, wow, okay, we now recognize that concern that had been quite valid, it now is really not a concern any longer, because the spillage will not occur. And in fact, the text amendment that was adopted requires that there be no spillage into the property, the abutting properties.
Exactly. Now, how did you guys, when the project got started, how did you guys raise money? Did you guys do fundraisers?
So we're going back again a little bit. I was on the Parks and Recreation Commission for 8 years prior to being a Board of Selectmen.
All right.
So this is an area near and dear to me. I happen to be an individual. I'm a little bit older, but I have still play soccer at a competitive level in an over 50s league. I play on all over the place under the lights, and it's such an exciting opportunity. And in our town, when we put the turf field at the high school, we put conduit underneath that turf field with the hopes and the expectation that we would be able to bring people to the table, discuss concerns, and come to a reasonable outcome. And that would be that, should we address their concerns, which we have, that ball field lighting would be proper and appropriate for a town like Old Saybrook. And so then we did the research. How much money would this be? And the cost is somewhere between $350,000 and $400,000 based on what your site has available to it. The fact that we put conduit in when we did the turf project 8 years ago will minimize our cost a bit. Right. So we had some surplus at the end of 2020. We took $200,000 and put that into a sinking fund as seed money to say to this community, okay, here we put the first tranche of money into the sinking fund of $200,000. Let's go see if the rest of you are really interested in lights, and let's raise another $150. And when we do that, we're going to move this project forward. Okay. So Carl Fortuna tapped a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen, and I'm one of the chair people of that, along with Al Hyla. And we have 7 individuals. Those people are Richard Hanratty, Nancy Gatta, Pete Rothman, Megan Brady, and Amelia Seigersmith. She's a student at the high school. Okay. And so the 7 of us are the committee members tapped with that challenge to raise $150,000. So we've met. We had a comedy show where we had 100 guests. Even in COVID, we streamed it out virtually in real time. It's on our website, as a matter of fact, should you want to watch that. And people donated $25 a ticket to come and see the show, either live or through a link. They made additional donations, and that's what got the ball rolling. And that was back on November 13th, where we raised our first $4,000. The Department of Police Services has done a shorts for whomever, and they did shorts for Sean a year and a half ago. He was a young man in town that merited some attention and additional financial support. and they raised a great number of dollars to support a young man named Sean in town. This year, the Department of Police Services directed those funds to Raise for Rams.
Okay.
And we received a massive check for $20,000 from the Department of Police Services, from all the personnel in the police who wore shorts throughout the summer. They made additional donations. They had additional interest in supporting our cause, and we got, I said, a massive check for $20,000. So we got off and running early in November with $24,000, and since then we've been knocking on doors, soliciting donations, and asking this community to participate. And I'm very proud to share today that we have raised $100,000, leaving us $50,000 short of our goal. And those opportunities that abound are people can make a general donation. They can go on the website and make a general donation. We followed suit with some other towns where they do personalized commemorative bricks.
Yep.
And so on our website, you can go on the website and commemorate your favorite coach, teacher, your own child who was successful in town in sports. The fact that they were alumni here of our high school. We have already sold about 40 bricks, and our goal is to sell 200 to raise at least another $50,000. And those bricks, you can buy a 4x8 brick,
Yep.
an 8x8 brick, or a 12x12 brick.
Oh my goodness.
And the numbers are reasonable for those commemorative bricks, and we're excited about that opportunity.
Absolutely.
We've
Now,
had. Go ahead.
No, go aheid.
All right, so some big donors have come through in town, and that's a challenge, because the big donors are people who are people are knocking on their doors every day and asking for money, and so we have gone to a good number of community members and asked them to participate in this process and demonstrate that they too see the excitement and recognize that this fits into our plan here in Old Saybrook. Way back, our Healthy Youth, Healthy Community organization used to do an asset survey to talk about what are the greatest assets you have in this town. And it's, of course, our youth, and it's keeping them safe and giving them opportunities to participate in safe and healthy and fun activities. And Friday Night Lights, as many people refer to it,
Oh yeah.
is one of those great opportunities that we are certain will bring our community together and give us a chance to bring additional people into town and shop in Old Saybrook. So we believe it's also an economic development opportunity as well. So we have From You Flowers has made a grand donation at the gold level of $25,000. We had Always chip in $10,000. We had Pasta Vida give us a big donation this morning. Woody Surrett Construction gave us $5,000. We had Anonymous Family give us $10,000. And then I tell you, we have 200 additional other donors who have chipped in $25, $50, $100, $1,000. And we have now amassed $100,000 en route to our goal of 150, and I'm quite excited to share that news, and I'm hoping that those of you that are watching this at home,
Right.
and sharing this information, will talk to your friends. You get on the simple website that we have, raiseforrams.com. It's www.raiseforrams.com. It's simple to find. We're on Facebook. JT Dunn has done a phenomenal job with that Saybrook Neighborhood Connections of sharing our story, and people are participating, and it's just exciting. It's something that's going to be great for each of our student athletes as well as our community.
Scott, would you mind sticking around? We're about to go into a short break.
I'm staying around. Thanks a lot.
All right, me too. We'll be right back.
I've spent my whole life as a physician. I've seen how vaccines have saved people's lives, saved children's lives, saved the lives of the elderly. We now have that opportunity with COVID. We have a vaccine that's safe. We know this vaccine also, through the most rigorous scientific studies and trials, is effective. We have the opportunity to make a difference. But we can only make that difference if everyone gets vaccinated.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide. It provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
Unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Saybrook Selectman Scott Giegerich. Scott, welcome back.
Well, thank you once again. This is a great opportunity to share our story.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Scott, before we go back to the fundraising event, let's talk about as far as the town of Old Saybrook goes and what you guys are doing. You told me off camera about an event that you guys held this past weekend. Can we maybe talk about that?
Well, so I believe that anybody that lives in our town has seen the Department of Emergency Management really step up during this COVID pandemic. And last year we vaccinated more than 26,000 people through an outdoor stay in your car site over at our middle school.
Yep.
That was quite seamless. And I'm proud to have been a part of that, where we made appointments for people, we provided them vaccinations, we provided them information, we knocked on doors of our elderly who may have been less apt to, and that's not necessarily a fair statement, but some people have a challenge with the computer. So we were knocking on doors and helping people get appointments, and they came through. Yesterday, we handed out 5,178, it might be plus or minus 10 of those,
All right.
masks to any resident that got in line and spent about 15 minutes driving through our obstacle course at the middle school. And they registered, they let us know how many adults they had in their household, and we provided them with 2 N95 masks, which are the best type of mask you can have during the COVID pandemic. And so I'm proud again that our Department of Emergency Management Services was able to make that happen. People are very anxious to get those test kits.
Yep.
And as the first selectman has shared, the governor overpromised and underdelivered. However, I believe that it's a big challenge, that they're trying to get these test kits to every community in the nation. And so as those test kits arrive to Old Saybrook, the town of Old Saybrook will continue to make them available to anyone that would need them. And I know that the focus is now on anybody with symptoms. And so what they're asking you to do is go to the Saybrook Point Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is tomorrow, the next day and the next day.
Yep.
And if you'll get in line there, they have an outdoor testing site.
Drive-through.
And when and if any of those tests run out, the town has another 762 tests. And
Wow.
we're going to make sure that we have tests for anybody who really needs them. And that's the challenge is people do want to have them at home just in case. At this point in time, the real focus is on anybody that is in need of a test because they have symptoms, and that's what's happening. And as soon as those new test kits come in, there will be new information shared. And I know that many people already signed up for those text messages and emails and phone calls that come out regularly from our Department of Emergency Management Services.
Absolutely. So let's go back to the fundraiser for the Race for Rams and exactly what's going on. And I know that you guys had a comedy event back in November, and I have a feeling you and I know a thing or two about the local comedian who put that on.
So a good friend, Vinnie McElhone, is a very talented comedian, and that'll go to his head, but he is, and so he was the kickoff event that we hosted here at Fireman's Field.
Yep.
And the firemen donated that site to us that evening. We had an indoor event. We limited it to 100. They have a capacity of 160, so we limited our attendance to 100.
Right.
I have a local artisan chef that came in and made personalized pizzas for every table.
Ooh.
We had some. I have a photographer named Scott Julius that has all of this that you see on our Raise for Rams right here.
Yep.
That is his picture that he took from the bleachers of our field there in Old Saybrook.
Oh, wow.
And his graphics are now living on and on so that we can push this message. And our event on November 13th was a phenomenal success. People had fun. The comedians were funny, and we have spurred some. And we inspired people to donate. And since that event, the message is resonating, and
Right.
people are going to the site. They're now purchasing bricks. That was our next big endeavor after the comedy show.
Right.
So we'll take anybody's $25 donation, $50 donation, $100 donation, $10,000 donation. But a lot of people like to get something for what they donate. And
Exactly.
so one of our team members went out and found out that this is a great opportunity to give people an opportunity to get a tangible item in exchange for their donation.
Right.
And so people can buy bricks through our website, and it's quite easy. You click on it. You can pay by check. You can pay by PayPal. You can pay by credit card. It's quite simple. I will make this statement. If you pay us by check, it saves a little bit of money on the fees at
Right.
the end.
Absolutely.
However, we're concerned or interested in you having facility, ease of donating. And so we'll accept your donation any way it comes, and we're happy to receive it. And we're looking forward to receiving a whole bunch more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, once you guys hit the goal, how long is it going to take to have the lights installed and up and running?
So we have been in contact with Musco, which is the lighting manufacturer that we hired them on as consultants, and I guess the word isn't we hired them on, we brought them on as consultants
Sure.
early on in this project. They have done lighting all throughout the state of Connecticut. And so Julie Pendleton, who's the director of facilities and a whole bunch more at our public schools, she is quite adept at working with these contractors on all of these projects, and it is a challenge. There are a lot of balls in the air all the time, especially as we're going through budget season. We are of the mindset, based on our conversations with Musco and with we have some complementary vendors, our turf vendor, for example, the company that installed the turf.
Yep.
We need to bring them in because we'll have to disrupt the turf for a short period of time in order to push the poles that these lights will be
Yes.
affixed to, and they have to go 16 feet deep into the ground
Oh, wow.
in order for them to withstand, massive winds and things of that. So the undertaking is a big undertaking, and it will take a lot of coordination of a lot of people. And we are hopeful and expectant that should this money arrive by the end of February, and I also believe that is a real goal and a realistic goal,
Right.
that we will have lights next fall. And if that's not the case, based on what we're all hearing with supply chain challenges and getting contractors into your site, then we would make this the 2023 initiative. However, I'm confident that should we have the money in hand by end of February, that there's a high likelihood that we will have those lights installed for next fall for our first Friday night lights.
Exactly. Friday night lights under Friday night football lights, which is always a fun thing to go hang out under the lights and watch a high school football game.
Everybody enjoys that, and it brings our community together. And we know that the opposing team will be coming early and excited to watch their kids play, and there's a high likelihood they'll be going to our local restaurants along the way. And so, you know, I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. We do believe this creates some economic developments and economic impact in town as well.
Absolutely. Scott, we got a little bit more time left, but before we say goodnight, give me the website one more time.
So the website is raiseforrams.com, www.raiseforrams, R-A-Y-S, raise like light rays, for rams.com. And you can see it on my sign here.
There you go.
We've got Andrew at Computer Science came up with all of this stuff for us, and we're again as pleased and proud of all of the collaboration that we have received to date, and we continue to receive. You know, every time I get an email, I check on it, and when it's a brick order, I'm excited, and we respond immediately. Every single person is acknowledged when they make a donation. The donations are tax deductible as well.
Yep. Cool. Scott Giegerich, thanks for some time, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too.
Bye-bye.
On behalf of Scott Giegerich, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night. We'll see you next time.